There we go.
Well, there we go. Okay, so as usual, welcome everybody. This is the November 8th Gno.land developer call, and it's the 15th one we've had now. I think we started back in February. So, and I'm going to share the agenda again in case you guys didn't see it or didn't come through. So we'll maybe kick it off with the recap of the engineering team retreat. For context, most of the engineering team was together, met together, and if maybe some of you guys could give feedback on the event for those who couldn't join. I don't know, Manfred, if you want to take that one, or Morgan, or Milos, or...
I will share a link. Oh, actually, I think it's a private link. I will start and then please continue after me. Basically, we had identified on a board topics we want to discuss or challenges. Actually, the plan was not followed exactly, but in practice, we also fixed a lot of really high-level concerns. We made many improvements regarding the portal loop. I personally have a discussion with several people in technical team and other teams and clarified technical part of the project, strategical part of the project, launch, and everything. So yeah, I think we were all empowered. And in terms of pull requests, probably we had an equivalent rhythm as usual, even if we had non-writing activities like having fun or just meetings or workshops. So it was a productive week. And yeah, the feedback I had and the feeling I had was about everyone to be more empowered and more aligned and understanding more what we are doing, what are the challenge, what we are actually not trying to do. Because one of the things is always to clarify what we don't want to do, especially on technical details. And except for the portal loops, that was one of my focus. Actually, I don't remember exactly what were the other topics. One of them was about take stars, so testing, having in-memory nodes, and just having more full stack, no, not full stack, integration tests. And to be honest, for the other ones, I don't remember. We made multiple bug fixes. Oh, sorry, I added a new call, which I think could be awesome once well integrated, the Gno run. Basically, Gno key mectx run is a new way to call a contract, not by just calling an endpoint with parameters, with arguments, but by uploading arbitrary Go code. So you upload your Gno code. It simulates that you basically create a realm, it executes the realm, but at the end it deletes the realm. And this way allow to remove the last part which was not Go in your experience. You can write a Gno contract on a Go blockchain, and even the client itself is not a CLI anymore. It's about writing Gno code. So the client becomes Gno, and you are a Gno object calling Gno contract and using Gno object and retrieving state, etc. So we already removed most of the things like database or gRPC APIs to make more Go. And the last part was to marshal arguments from the CLI, so to have a limited API into just writing Go code. So it's not finished, but you can just imagine using a Go shell to consume and interact with a chain. So yeah, portal loop, bug fixes, in-memory testing, and the new verb on Gno chain. And please, guys, let me conclude because I clearly don't remember everything.
Just reading from like the Kanban board. On my side, like I worked with Jay closely to bring native bindings much closer to completion, and we're still pending a bit of a review, but finally closed on that. And I know it's been a recurring theme ever since this call existed. Milos, Antonio, and Guillem worked together on the Genesis command suite. So we now have a new binary in the GNO repository, which is able to help us modify and manipulate the Genesis files and transactions. I personally worked on like some work for Gnosis. So we have the slides now uploaded onto our organization together with a tool to render Reveal.js slides. We kickstarted as well, like some new mechanisms to recognize contributions for Game of Realms, which we're working on to improve to actually have documents to recognize people's contributions. Jay has been working closely on on his book, sort of Realm, which you might know if you've been following him on Twitter. And yes, I invite Milos or anyone else to complete me on anything that I missed.
I'm sharing the Kanban if you want to see. But yeah, basically it was a way for the team to meet because we are a fully remote company with people from many countries. But it was a productive week, and there are many other things that are not in card on this Kanban that happened, especially by discussing and clarifying everything. Highlight for JSLib users. Sorry, what did you say? Yeah. So another thing to important, this retreat was not just for the GNO core team, it was for AIB, so the umbrella company having GNO, having also Ignite CLI, a wallet, the decentralist, so other projects. And it was an occasion for many people outside of the GNO core team to also discover more about GNO and try writing things around GNO. And we also had some external people, like people from Unblock. We had also Zuma from Territory. So we also discussed a little bit with partners, and especially one topic was about clients. So the thing being with the JavaScript library was also another topic for Dylan, a newcomer in the GNO core team, who wanted to basically do the same and improve the client experience, but not on JavaScript, on Go. So it was an occasion for newcomers, for other teams in AIB, and for some partners to also work with us. Anything you want to add, Michelle? Because actually you were there too, so maybe you want to share something you enjoyed.
Yeah, I wasn't always at the engineering retreat, but I think it was quite, for me, we have work being done on no playground and no IDE. So topics that will hopefully get more devs in the ecosystem. And so that was quite a nice presentation to learn a little bit more about the direction there. Yeah, John.
Hello. I thought a great takeaway from the engineering retreat and the retreat in general, actually, is just knowing a little bit more about the team, each individual, where they're coming from, what their background is. But also there was a lot of really productive conversation about DAO structuring.
Yes.
There was a ton of that, and there were a lot of things that worked really well with DAOs and stuff, and that had happened in the past. Some of us have had experience with in the past. Excuse me. And sharing those thoughts as we kind of begin to or continue to formulate our DAO structures, I think Michael benefited a ton from a lot of those conversations, hearing from Giuseppe and others. It was great for me, at least. So yeah, just wanted to add that.
Yep. Actually, it was even my main focus. So sorry for forgetting it, but I think most of my discussion were about DAO.
Yeah, maybe it makes sense, like in 2 weeks or something, we could do a bit of a spotlight on.
Sure. Yeah. Clearly.
Okay, cool. Did anyone else want to, like Michael or anyone else want to offer like just their thoughts on the engineering retreat?
Yeah.
Or general?
I can touch on the DAO stuff real quick since I have to leave a bit early today.
Okay.
But yeah, basically in the vein of what John and Manfred just mentioned, we got to have some pretty long discussions with Jay. Make sure that kind of the final implementations we're thinking about matches his vision. So as of now, so like the main contributor DAO, which you know, contains all the governance. We're going to be kind of finalizing naming structures there because I think that makes it a lot more complicated than it otherwise has to be. But basically, the contributors will be self-governing now. So when you gain a tier as a contributor, you control every tier below you. There's not a third-party evaluation DAO doing that for you now. Now it's all kind of self-contained based on what level everyone's at. Evaluation DAO is basically just adding like a critic review to somebody's work, like just a write-up that gets added to a user profile, but it's the actual contributors themselves that determine what level everybody is at, how much voting power they get, how many rewards they get. We've decided on a flat rate system after launch. So once we launch here, every tier 1 contributor will make the same amount. Every tier 2 contributor will make the same amount. They'll also all be splitting the same amount of voting power. So, you know, far off in the future, we might be able to very precisely define how much each individual bit of code or video that somebody makes for us is worth in terms of tokens or points. But for now, yeah, it'll be flat rate, and the achievement itself will be going up and down the tier list. We're also going to be adding kind of a support DAO in the sense of like all support functions that are covered by AIB, like the grant programs and marketing and HR and legal and things of that nature. We'll basically have a DAO separate, kind of helping to oversee those tasks. Kind of moving to make ourselves fully decentralized over time here, and that's just one element of it. But there's a whole bunch. I'll be meeting with Manfred a little bit about it tomorrow, and we should have a whole bunch of docs that lay it out very plainly, and hopefully make it a whole lot easier to follow now that we kind of have it in stone, at least definitely more so than it was. Oh yeah, also in terms of the fee, we're basically going to be going with something similar to how Ethereum prices transactions, how it deals with gas. It's EIP 1559 update. So that'll be a combination of kind of comparing how big this block was versus how big the last block was to kind of gauge demand, in combination with maybe a couple small parameters that we're playing around with. So I'll post about that shortly as well.
Okay, cool. I guess I have a question, but it doesn't have to be answered now. It's just the discussion on DAO, on the DAO structuring, like how that will be implemented or work with the moderation DAO work done by territory.
So moderation DAO is actually a fully separate thing from
Okay.
Gno.land. They're not necessarily, I mean, they're related, but they're not necessarily part of the same DAO structure, if that makes sense. You know, part of our overall ecosystem, but not really part of Gno.land itself. The main 3 DAOs that we'll be working with now that are part of Gno.land itself are going to be the main DAO. We used to call it Works DAO. We used to call it Contributor DAO. Now we're calling it Gov DAO. We'll finalize all that soon. But the main Contributor DAO is the big one that most people will be a part of. Then we'll have Evaluation DAO, which is, you can think of it like, again, like a critic review where people that are not part of Evaluation DAO can leave notable contribution marks, basically give people mad props, similar to our Slack. But Evaluation DAO is kind of the more professional version of that, the more like, you know, more thorough reviews that get posted on user profiles. But that's pretty much all they do at this point, is providing feedback and letting everyone know this was a good contribution for this reason, or this contribution could be improved for that reason. So yeah, main DAO, then evaluation DAO, and then that third support DAO, and everything else will be kind of below that in some form with those three. Yeah, thanks for pulling that up, Manfred. On screen there, you can see basically everything from Gno.land up is part of core functioning, and then everything below that is through the grant program or in some way related to one of the other DAOs.
So at the end, it's possible to have a moderation DAO, which is a DAO, but most of the time, the moderation DAO will also be a feature. So Territory made a moderation DAO library. So it's clearly possible that we have a moderation DAO somewhere in that graph, where the only goal for such people is to be good moderators and be incentivized to be good moderators globally. Another way we can imagine is to just have the feature in each DAO. So probably we'll have a moderation DAO plus the moderation DAO feature included in evaluation DAO for the discussion part of it, and in other DAOs too. It will probably be hybrid like this. But it makes sense to have a dedicated moderation DAO where we just expect people like on Wikipedia, just experts at moderating. I think it makes sense for some people like this to just enjoy doing it and being proud to earn rewards by just doing it. It's a kind of contribution at the end. We can translate the effort into hours, and we can also slash bad contributions, and we can reward notable contributions regarding moderation. And evaluation DAO is kind of moderation DAO on its own. It's or humans should judge things with technical background, and moderation DAO is another way of judging things to provide good quality and make a better environment.
And I guess it's worth mentioning too, this is still early days, but we're experimenting with some staking alternatives where maybe somebody bonds their tokens with whatever realm or smart contract they believe in the most. And since authors of realms and smart contracts on Gno.land will be receiving 5 to 10% of all fees that their realm or smart contract generates, we're looking at potentially having people basically bond their tokens with particular realms and smart contracts to provide almost like Patreon liquidity in exchange for receiving that 5 to 10% of fees yourself instead of it going to the author. So the early days, but potentially some alternatives to staking, since we don't really have reason to stake. We don't have inflation. We don't have kind of a lot of things that traditional chains would have, but this could be a possible kind of utility as a replacement. We're just starting to look into and model a little bit now.
Okay. I don't know. Does anyone have questions on that or like on the topic? I mean, probably a lot of questions. Okay, maybe we can do another like more focused session when, like you said, in maybe 2 weeks, Michael, on this. So shall we move on to the contributor updates? Is it okay? We could start maybe with Flipando and Dragos, because he's going to give us a demo of the really cool app that's coming to Know.
Thank you. Yes, I appreciate the fact that you're letting me first, because here where I am right now is close to midnight, and I think I'm going to excuse myself. So probably after this, I will stay another 10-15 minutes, and then I'll go to sleep.
Thanks for staying up with us, then.
Yeah, no worries, my pleasure. First of all, thank you for the update of the engineering retreat. I had no idea what happened there, but it's super interesting. I'm happy to observe the phenomenon, and it looks like something really alive. And I'm happy to just observe this and be part of this. Now I'm going to share my screen. If I think I should take over from Manfred. It's okay, yeah? Okay, so I will share my entire screen. Hopefully it won't be that weird.
Just I want say something. So the retreat is something we organize because we are working remotely. We plan. We plan. We want to organize a festival for core contributors. So we will meet. We will probably have something similar. We don't know yet when, but yeah, basically we really enjoy having a community where we can measure the alignment, understanding of the project. So it's a plan to organize things. We don't know exactly the detail and when and what, but we will
Okay.
meet together and act together and have fun together.
That sounds great. That sounds really
Yeah.
great.
You will live it with us, promise.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so I think many of you have been in previous calls and heard me talking about Flipando and flipping tiles, and it all sounded like probably kind of complicated verbally. So I thought to just do something very visual. This is actual gameplay. This is running on my machine on a slightly modified version of a custom math random package and GRC721 package. These are the only thing that I had to modify and redeploy on my local node. Everything that happens here is happening in Gno. I'll have the console here so you can actually look at the actual output and see the Gno key transactions. Parenthesis, very curious about the Gno key run flavor. It looks really interesting, like your kind of meta programming thing, if I understand it correctly. Parenthesis closed. So without further ado, we are going to play a memory game. We have the choice between colored tiles that we have to remember. We have the choice between dice or hexagrams. Hexagrams are my favorite because they're super difficult, but for the sake of the demo, I will start with just a colored tiles. You'll see exactly what that means. So you just saw the transaction, which is like here. That's that thing, it's going. Now, as you can see, I already played about 20 games just to have a little bit of solved tiles here. Feel free to play along with me if you want to experience this. So we have like an orange and some sort of magenta. They disappeared, but we now have to remember that this is an orange and this is a magenta. The goal being to uncover the entire tile, which will create a basic NFT. Oh, so if I remember well, this magenta with this magenta will stick. Now, if I found these pairs, they will stick, and this is the part of the matrix that is uncovered. Let's go and try and find the next ones. I think I have this and this. Yeah. Okay. There are many strategies. Start by the side, start by the middle, start by the other. I don't know, from the center, whatever you want. But the idea is to kind of create a little bit of a memory of the territory, like uncovering the territory. As we are approaching the end of the matrix, there will be some interesting caveats, and I will stop at that moment when we have only 4 tiles left. We're getting very close. So I think this is a light blue. How many of you think this is a light blue and this is a light blue? Let's see. Yeah, that is correct. As you can see, everything is just broadcasted, across the chain. So I've seen some hands raised here. Okay. Yeah. Everything is a transaction. We're calling a function in a realm, and I marshal the results, and I return them as JSONs. Now, we reached the place where we have only 4 tiles uncovered. I will start to explain how the actual matrix is uncovered. We are actually generating random numbers between a range, and the range is the actual size of the tile. If we have a tile with 64 levels, then we'll generate random numbers between 1 and 64 if we have this tile. But as we approach the end, there is a slight possibility that we will have 1, 2, 3, 4. So none of these tiles will actually match. So I resort to a little bit of a gimmick at the end of a game. You will see this in the UI, like Flipando is hitting, entering unstable quantum state. And that means that we are overwriting the last 4 tiles with random tiles. This bodes pretty well in the sense that you cannot kind of program what your tile would look like. It will always be random. Now, this tile is kind of uncovered, unsolved, and I have 2 options. I can mint this as an NFT, or I can start a new flip. I will choose to mint it as an NFT. It will be GRC721. And a couple of things will happen. The uncovered tile appears here, and there's a balance here that it is updated, which is 8 locked flip. So the moment we are choosing to, if you have any questions at any given moment, please feel free to interrupt me. I don't see you. So just interfere. When we are minting a basic tile, we are also minting a fungible token, which is called flip, which is locked inside the tile. The fungible token is the actual reward for generating this kind of tile. Now, what's the utility of the tile? It can be used in create art by going to a playground and actually using them as drag and drop to create a composite NFT. Why the flip is locked? Because it will be very easy to just kind of milk the blockchain. We create endless tiles and we get endless flip. The flip is locked, is unlocked and sent to us only if someone else uses our tiles. So I started another account in preparation for this demo, and I will go to the playground. This is a completely different address. I will go to the playground, and this is how the playground looks like. These are tiles created by other accounts. I have 0 liquid and 0 lock flip. I didn't do anything. And I just put together a small canvas for the sake of this demonstration. As you can see, some of the tiles are having colored tiles. Some of them have dice, and just one has hexagram, because like I told you, hexagrams are very, very difficult. The process of drawing is kind of very easy and simple. It's just, oh, it's a runtime error. It's just a basic drag and drop. And after we fill this, I will try my best to create some sort of Jackson Pollock. You can watch how the token IDs are built here. Once we are ready with this kind of abstract art, we will mint this NFT, which is going to be a composite NFT, and that will unlock the flip inside each of these tiles, send to their owners, and basically transfer all the individual basic NFTs to myself. I will try to hit this button, and the response is okay. The UI is not yet cooked up, but as you can see, we have the exact order of the token IDs in the metadata of this different kind of NFT. The end result could be something like this. You can see we can create a tiny little thing like this for pixelated monkeys or punks or whatever. So that was my demo. I don't want to take much of your time. So if you have any questions, I'll be really happy to answer. Thank you, guys.
My only question is, this is amazing, and amazing work. Yeah.
Thank you.
I also recognize a lot of the console logs.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, just I look forward to trying it out.
Yeah, do you want to give it just like 1 minute of like Dragos what the plan is on when everyone can start playing and sharing?
Yeah. So I've been worked a lot into porting the Solidity version of the game to Gno, aiming to finish by the end of November. And as of right now, it is like 95% finished. Focused a lot on the back end. The UI will be significantly different. once once I'm going to go live. The game will go live on testnets. The Solidity version, along with the Gno version, they will go live sometimes during November if Universe loves me, and I hope this time will love me. The Solidity launch will be done on the Saga testnet. I don't know if any of you is familiar with Saga. It's a project which I understood it was kind of backed by Olimbits. And they are doing something very interesting with scalable blockchains. It's like the Amazon Elastic infrastructure. You can spin up chainlets, as they call them. And I am part of their program. So the plan is to kind of go head to head, launching on Saga, the EVM version, and then at the same time launching Gno, testnet 4, probably, by the end of November. Anyway, December should be ready. There are a couple of questions here, and I would like to answer them. For Michael, yes, no one can duplicate a tile because it's an NFT. Once you finish tile, it is minted as a unique non-fungible token, and the metadata is the actual SVG that you see on the screen. So the SVG is stored on chain. We are not relying on external storage. Everything is contained within the realm. So it's actual SVG data. Flip drop, that's something that's very interesting, and we kind of segue into the tokenomics of this. My initial idea for the tokenomics was to have a fixed cap supply of 1 billion flips, no airdrop, no liquidity providing, just hardcore price discovery, like rewarding early adopters. So if we're talking about an airdrop of a token, I don't think I envision this. It can change, but I just wanted to have like a fixed supply, because each chain, each ecosystem will have I will answer in a moment, Manfred. Each chain will have its 1 billion supply. So if we go into a new territory, that territory will also generate 1 billion, will also have a supply of 1 billion tokens. So I would love to have a way to, Manfred, I'm answering your question. I would love to have a way to deploy more fluidly, to work more fluidly. Right now, my development setup is kind of a hacking, party. Every time I do a modification of my realm, I have to reset the chain and redeploy the programs. I did my tooling, which is very blunt, and it works. But if there will be something like a way to more fluidly, something like hard hat, that can allows us to abstract a lot of functionality and just be able to deploy realms very fast. I do test-driven development, and before deploying, I always run my tests. But in some cases, and I reckon in many more, as the cases get more complex, there will be a need for continuous deployment. Yeah, thank you, thank you, Milos. Other than that, I'm very comfortable, and I love the simplicity of Gno. It kind of bodes well with my specific identity for this project on GitHub, which is irreverent simplicity. If anyone wants to have a look at the okay, that's good. Yeah,
Yep. We want to look. We
Mhm.
want to look, and yes, what you are looking for is something we have in mind.
Mhm.
Right now, we have a good experience to unit test. We know how, but it's not documented. We know have a good way to basically code like with Go using a func main function. So it's more about you run the same thing and you print. So it's another way to make unit tests, but more about running instead of testing. We have a lot of work regarding Portal Loop to improve the local development experience, and one of them will be to have probably a command name Gno.dev that could run an in-memory node looking for the file system, and if we can make an auto refresh, basically you run the daemon once, you have both the blockchain and GNO web and whatever you need running, and the watchfs would help you to just reset what needs to be reset each time you make a change on the realm. So this is something we also want. Please give your feedback. Please share your hack. If you have, I don't know, a shell script, a make file to make your current life easier. Share
Yeah,
everything.
I will definitely share everything in my Tripanda hackerspace. I was just frantically coding before the demo to make everything.
Not sure. But clearly we are curious about your hack. And our goal is to make you not, we want you to not have to make hacks.
By all means, yeah. Thank you so much. I will continue to work. Like I said, it's 97% done. That will be probably 100% in a week.
And I have a last question if you are still there for a few minutes. What's your plan after? Because I have planned for you based on one of your other projects, which is on the App Store, linked to what I need for the blockchain. But yeah, what's your plan? Do you want to continue making Gno with us right now, to wait a little bit for months?
I will be really, really happy to continue working in this project, to be honest. I already shared with Michel and with Milos at the call that we had yesterday. I am extracting myself currently from my corporate job, which is a slow and tedious process, but I can see the light now. I know for sure that at the end of the year, I will be basically free. So just in 1 month and a half, probably we just finished this, and I will be happy to take on more work for this project. I really love the project, and I can share with you that Unchained from corporate. Yeah, I will share with you that I know Jay in real life. I met him 5 years ago.
You told me you gave him a book, maybe a South Korean book. I don't remember exactly the details. But
so I would be really happy to be part of this project, to be honest.
So welcome, and please contribute. It's in your interest to contribute as you started. And just as a disclaimer for full disclosure for everyone, Drago's previous life was to create an application to basically make project management, like an advanced to-do list. And on-chain project management is basically maybe 50% of what we will need in the thing we discussed with Michael at the beginning, with a network of DAOs. It's not just about having DAOs, not just about having ways to vote and invest budgets, but also to make project management where you can basically focus on your team, focus on your needs, but also understand that when you zoom out, your task is actually fixing your goal, which belongs to another greater goal. So we will need zoomed in project management, and also zoomed out project management for a big virtual organization composed of several small independent but collaborating teams and DAOs. So we'll definitely need a lot of work regarding this.
Yeah, I just shared the actual management tool that I wrote. If anyone wants to check it, it's live in App Store right now. So yeah, I will be happy to port this, and I don't want to take any more time and space from you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. I'm really looking forward to playing it personally. Okay, so we can move on. Maybe Unblock, do you want to give an update on your end? I did also have a topic that you guys had brought up in the agenda as well. I think it's related to Not June, about encoding standard libs. But anyway, if you guys want to give an update.
Yeah, sure. I can give a quick update. Okay. Andrew, do you want to do it?
You can start.
All right. So looks like there's a lot of topics for today's call, so I'm gonna make it short. I shared the link in the chat, which is our updates. So we've been mainly working on Gno.land, integrating APIs and problems with the interface, and we finished integrating of basic functions such as connect wallet, create a pool, add liquidity, and swap. So you can check those out in our latest demo video. And we finished it writing swap router contract with the registered interface. a way of call GRC20 dynamically that we worked on with Manfred in Miami. So it unlocked us in many ways. So yeah, we've done that. And for GNU Core, Byung-jun, who joined on Block about 3 weeks ago, he's been mainly working on GNU Core, porting core packages. So yeah, I think he's been doing some great work. So yeah, maybe I can introduce Byung-jun to you guys. Byung-jun, do you wanna say hi to the team and maybe
hi,
ask questions?
hi guys, I'm Byung-jun Lee. I joined Onblock 3 weeks ago. Yeah, thank you.
Welcome.
Hey,
It's also funny your name, not June. Not June.
yeah, it's a little bit confusing for previous June, but I'm not sure what should I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really great to have you.
Yeah. Also, call me H plus 2. Okay.
H plus?
Yeah,
Sorry?
it's on my company mail names.
Ah,
So
H.
yeah, it
Cool.
yeah this will avoid confusing.
Welcome.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
So some of his work are ready for review, so you can take a look. And for Adina, Andrew, do you want to take on Adina?
Excuse
Yeah,
me,
sure.
that one. Excuse me. Which one is ready for review?
1290 and 1323, the add encoding and add IO/FS.
Yeah, it's on my review list, on my eternally growing review list, but I aim to do it
Okay.
this week.
That's great.
I may have reviewed them already. No, yeah, we will review. No worries. Okay.
Okay, Andrew?
Yeah, I guess I can pick it up. Manfred, do you mind if I share my screen?
Yeah, sure. I don't know. Well, okay, should be good.
All right. Let's see. All right, I think I'm sharing. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
All right. Yeah, so I just want to share what we've been working on Adina. For context, what we're doing is adding support for air gap accounts, which are basically accounts that you set up in an offline environment. So like, for example, like a machine, such as a laptop that's disconnected from the internet, with just the Gno.land software to sign transactions. But you use a separate device, the one that's connected to the internet, to actually broadcast the signed transaction files. And this is the first page. It just tells you that you're setting up an air gap account. And once you click on next, it prompts you to enter your address. And what this does is basically adding a view-only account to Adina. So it lets you confirm your address and lets you know that it's synced. And what this does is it creates an air-gapped account on Adina, and this we can query your balance just by using your address. And once this is done, you can upload signed transaction files that you've signed from your air-gapped environment. Like in the example that I mentioned earlier, like a laptop with Gnoki, and we have the UI to browse files from your computer, which you can upload the signed transaction file and just click on confirm to actually broadcast the transaction. And it's really simple, and it's highly secure. It's much better than storing or inputting your seed phrase, because it keeps your secret in an offline setting, which makes it a lot more secure. And what we're considering is whether we should add support for creating unsigned transaction files, because signing, creating unsigned transaction files from an offline environment, it's really a hassle, because you have to find out your sequence number and the account number, which you can only obtain by connecting to the internet, basically. And we wanted feedback from anyone who's actually using an air gap setting to see if this would be worth the while to support on Dina. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
So you should definitely discuss with Alex from our team, from AIB. He has a lot of experience regarding this. I think the other people you should discuss with is probably the territory team, because they implemented a multi-sig system, and multi-sig is basically similar to air gap, because you need to coordinate and you need to craft your thing manually. So basically it's an air gap with a different behavior. So discuss with them. We can make the intro for Alex. And then, just so you know, we need the air gap. We'll probably add ways to not use the sequence number at some point. I don't know exactly how, but probably we'll encourage it, and we'll take more risk by not being sure about when the thing is used, but allowing to basically create something and take 1 month to get the signature for a multi-sig, or just because I don't know the air gap is like this. So we have plans to find a solution to do it, even if, yeah, we have many security concerns to address. Another thing we are working on, which is complementary to air gap, is a concept of sessions, where we will expect Adena and other good wallets to implement this system, where you use a first wallet to create a session, and then you can store the temporary seed, actually just a private key, in memory, while keeping the other thing being, for instance, a ledger, or maybe a air gap. So you can have something complicated to get a first signature, but then you have a temporary session that will disappear when you close the browser, or if you wait maybe 24 hours or whatever we define, or if you click disconnect, to basically make multiple transactions in the same session. So something similar to logging to a website, but having a cookie for the session. So it doesn't replace air gap, it's complementary. Air gap makes sense and is implemented right now in Gno.land. So the goal was to make it happen here. I think we can also maybe work together to make what you did with the QR code and the transaction file. Maybe we can try to find a standard. We can probably even include in the Gno.key binary, or with a different tool, a way to generate the same QR code. So maybe we can create in air gap the first part, and then you scan something that was crafted not from Adena but from something else. So it's an option to work together on this. But in terms of UI and constraints, I suggest you to use Alex for generic wallet improvements and territory for multi-sig.
Okay, thank you. I'll reach out to them.
I have a random question about that, because we're thinking about this needing to support the same thing in GNOME Mobile. I like the idea of the QR code, where you just point your hardware key at the QR code. Is there a possible problem with the transaction being too big? Because we can put all kinds of data in the transaction, and maybe the QR code won't hold it.
I think we will have a problem, yes, and that's why maybe at some point we should work on a standard together. And the standard should be to not the external service by default when the QR code is detailed enough. But as soon as we are too big, maybe we need an intermediary service. That's why I actually don't expect Adena to fix everything for everyone, but more to work with Bertie on the mobile and with the core team, so we can create a standard for two-step transaction building, where the first step could be standardized.
Great.
We have someone in the team, Antonio. Antonio used to work at Protocol Labs behind IPFS, and they were experts in making something like multi-format, which was a way to basically build complex systems, including struct and pointers and everything, into something that can be a human readable string or binary code. And at the end, we can maybe just work on a simple standard for sharing such things. And maybe we'll have a limit. Probably the QR code won't be usable for all the use cases, but we can at least manage most of the cases. And when we can't use QR code anymore, we can still maybe send links through a chat, or I don't know, using AirDrop on mobile, or find other solutions.
Sounds good. Thanks.
And if you can unblock team, I think it makes sense that you do it. Open an issue about this part, because yes, I clearly expect that you create a standard more than you create your thing, and then we need to reinvent the wheel each time we want to add the AirGap feature. And then we can even make it exist in the Gno key command if it's small and simple enough for the QR code stuff in general.
Okay, I'll make an issue. Thank you.
Thank
you. Yeah, as you know, the Birdie command line thing already has a way of displaying QR codes in the console. Just steal that code.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about. On Bertie, basically, the goal was to work on mobile first, which is clearly very difficult. Drago was speaking about redeploying the blockchain to redeploy the realm. Just imagine the platform ever to build something, because you need to rebuild everything and wait, and just to be able to see the result. And shortly, the goal was to use QR code on mobile, but to work from terminal. And we found a library to generate valid QR code with ASCII characters, and it's awesome. You can literally bridge the gap between mobile and terminal, even behind SSH and other things. You clearly don't need Bluetooth, Wi-Fi anymore, just pure QR code, but from the terminal. So from the thing which is actually the most flexible and fastest for a developer to edit.
Good. That's a lot. So, and also I think I can help with the wallet side with Alex. But if that's everything, I think also we addressed already the 1290 that I had here to talk about already. So it's basically waiting review. Do we want to move on to Birdie with Jeff? Yeah. Got a lot to update.
Yeah, it's been a while. I'm going to put a link to an entry in our journey, which has a link to a 3-minute video on our wallet functions. So I'm hoping we can look at that, if that's okay.
Yep. So 3 minutes?
Yeah. So you click the link and then click the Loom link in there.
Got it.
This is a demo of progress in GNOME Mobile for the wallet UA functions and for streaming API support. In a previous video, we already demoed our example app to create and restore an account and to post a message to the message board. We'll go through those quickly, but if you want to see more details, you can look at our previous video, which we posted on October 4th on our builder journey. First, I will quickly restore an account. And I'll give it a name, and I'll type a password, and I'll type the wrong password here, something else. And if we try to move ahead, we get an error which says the passwords don't match. And so now I'm going to make the passwords match and import the account. We are connected to our testnet on a Birdie server, and this account does have Gno, so we show the account balance. Now I'll create a new account. We generate a phrase, and give it a name, user 1. We type passwords and they match. I'll prove to you that this screen also checks password matching. And the blockchain on our testnet doesn't know about this user, so we see the message that we can't show the account balance. Next, we'll show that it checks if you're going to overwrite an existing account. So if I try to create an account with the same name again, and it will prompt me. If I don't want to override, I can close this screen and pick another username. User 3. Now we're going to switch account back to the original account that I restored, and the user interface remembers the password. So I don't have to enter it again. I'll prove that by actually using the password. I posted a message to the message board, and if we refresh, our message shows up on the message board on our testnet. And for the final UI function, we will remove an account. Let's remove this one that we just, we have confirmation and we remove it. And now if we look, it's gone. Finally, we merged this big pull request by Remy, which adds streaming support. We're not using it in the API yet, but I'll run this little demo. We call this example method, and it loops, and 4 times it returns a string and then finishes. 1, 2, 3, 4, and finished. That's it for the demos. We're largely finished. The next thing is subtle. We need to prompt for the password when the account doesn't have it. And we'll show you this and more improvements in our next video. Thank you. All right. Yay. So that was made for last week. In the meantime, we have implemented the code to check for the password. To give you a flavor of that, I'm going to paste something else, which is Remy, with the help of Manfred, has set up the buff website interface, which we are completing and is our focus right now. So this is, you know, all of Gno Mobile is based on gRPC, where the G means Google Protobuf, and the messages between the client and the underlying Go code are protobuf messages, and so this documents them. And you can see in this one, there's a response, has a flag which says set has password. So this is just an example of the kind of simple interface that the API is built on. Sorry, I just lost my voice.
I know the feeling. I know the feeling. I lost my.
So maybe Remy is here. Well, yeah, we have the buff.build organization set up. Do you already push something or not yet?
Yeah, we pushed. I mean, it's if you click that link, it has the current state of our API, which, so our focus right now is on no, in the chat for this.
Yeah, sorry, it'd be good now.
Yeah. So
and just a reminder for everyone, because I'm aware, but maybe not everyone here. Gno Mobile imports the Go code. So basically, it's calling tm2/pkg crypto keys client and other things, and it's also help creating the better Go client. So Gno.land/pkg/Gno client, maybe, I don't remember. But basically, yeah, Gno Mobile is in Go and importing the core thing. So all the feature you saw were just very good integration, empowering the existing implementation. It's not a competing implementation.
No, it's a thin layer, like you said, on top of the existing Go code in the core. Yeah.
So it provides a way to embed anything you want from Gno, which can be a full node or here a client with the real Go. It allows you to code with Go or other languages on mobile and not only on mobile. And here the interface also provides you a more complete, maybe that's not the way to go, but if the existing RPC interface is not good enough for you, maybe you could prefer using this one. For instance, if you want to have streaming features from gRPC, this is something which is not existing on the current WebSocket RPC. So in terms of preferences, it could be a way to just reuse their interface instead of the original one as an intermediary API. Or not, actually. But yeah, they are reusing and empowering the existing one, but also providing an API that makes more sense for mobile, because on mobile, the concept is to have basically a front end calling localhost, and localhost is actually the gRPC interface to a local node, and then the local node can make external queries. So
yeah, and where the mobile application is written in JavaScript. So, you know, that's the magic of gRPC. You can have a client in JavaScript or Java or C# or something, and it uses the existing core Go code underneath with all its bug fixes and maintenance and crypto and stuff. And so the application doesn't need to port everything. So we, you know, we're coming up to the end of our first project, which is going really well, which was to deliver GNOME Mobile. With the rest of this month, we're focusing on documentation and some final tweaks. You know, that user interface you saw is not the deliverable. That is a demonstration app which comes with GNOME Mobile, but the real deliverable is the framework, which would allow anybody to build something like this. And yeah.
thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Maybe in like 2 weeks we can talk about the next iteration.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Stay tuned for social.
That's right.
Okay, sorry, I lost my. Okay, sorry. Do we want to quickly? I mean, quickly. We're already an hour in, which actually is a point that maybe we will have time to talk about. Maybe we table it for the next time. We're thinking about how to look at these dev calls from week to week. So, as I mentioned, your feedback is very welcome. But Antoine, Territory, do you want to give a quick update? Because I think some of the team might have missed also your presentation at the engineering retreat or at the retreat.
Oh yeah, okay. But I can make it like short maybe, and
Short and
have
sweet.
like I will share my screen.
Let me remove. Good.
Okay, does it work? Yep. I'll share also the Casper's link in the chat. So to sum up quickly, our current focus is to work on escrows, and so we started maybe 1 month and a half ago, and we try to improve and make a lot of enhancements, especially because so our plan is to build Ancient Project Manager. So we will have to both have milestones, etc., kind of granularity in the management of a project by a DAO. And we also identified that it was interesting to create a conflict solver module that can call an external authority to solve a conflict between a buyer and a seller. So it could be both what we call a justice DAO composed of humans, or any authority, any realm, so even a chess game, for example, to solve the conflict. So once we had the idea of the justice DAO, we also identified that it was interesting to make research on VRF, to have like randomness, to elect someone or a group of people that are from the Justice DAO but doesn't have interest in a conflict. So we are quite focused on these three important things. And maybe I can also share kind of UI. So since we also started the front side. So for V1, the goal will be to be very simple, based on a Kanban UI. And to have like easy way to have an overview on the project. And of course, everything is on chain. So the goal is to provide for DAOs, companies, or even if it's one people hiring developers, to have a management tool that can easily help to track and have reviews, etc. So yeah, that's the current focus, and we expect to be ready maybe at the end of the month. We would like to push it on our testnet. We hope we'll be ready, but basically the goal is to experiment in various cases, and we know that the interface will not fit for all cases. So yeah, we'll have a lot of tests to do, and feel free to join us on this. And maybe for those who don't know, we also built the moderation DAO last month. And if you want to join, it's live, so you can go on app.territory / feed or whatever. And on top, you'll find the Gno territory testnet. So if you don't find it directly, you just have to go to your settings. So in settings, you will be able to display all testnets, manage networks, and find the Gno territory testnet. And basically on this side, what could be interesting, I guess, would be to use the organization deployer, which will allow you to deploy a DAO in 3 clicks. And so basically build your own DAO with friends. And after that, you'll have like a user profile for the moderation DAO. I will show you maybe in territory. On the other network, we'll have more content. So basically you will have a user profile for the moderation, for the DAO, sorry. And you can decide as organization to post on the social feed. So if I take this example, this is the village, the first DAO on territory. It will gather all information from the DAO. So in the future, we can imagine that all grants are also available there. And we can see the status of each project that have been granted. And we can see also like proposals to post something on the feed or to allow grants, etc. I think that's so. Maybe I forgot something. About VRF, we are experimenting basically a model that is based on Chainlink. And we also study a secret network that has a different approach. So it's still early on this side, since we focus on escrows and conflict solver module. But if you have any inputs on this topic, we'll be interested.
For the VRF, sorry, for the VRF, I think Dago for Flipando would be very interested too.
Yeah.
As you said, the only thing it changed in Gno was the random part. So VRF is about solving this forever.
Okay.
Feel free to ask feedback, and we can maybe sponsor your idea.
Okay. I think we've made it through just the contributors. I think the No ID team's not here, and also if you guys are interested, Zach, maybe you guys caught it already, but Zach did. I'm just gonna link it here. Zach, our first tinker, did a tutorial, Go to Know. So if you guys want to check it out or have checked it out, I linked it here. Should we move on?
Yeah.
So we already covered like the recap of the engineering retreat. We already covered the economics update. I did get some inputs from Morgan on some topics. There are some interesting topics also, I thought, around B1T, around the multi-node P2P and POA, the future of nulls. There's quite a few topics, so I don't know if we'll get to all of them, but if you guys have priorities on which ones, also the portal loop, like if you guys could put them in the chat, but maybe we kick it off with Morgan on the Meta standard library wish list, which I think also links to the tool for comparing source code of standard libraries, which I also had, which is 1.3.10. If you want to summarize it all.
So yeah, let me just share my screen for a while so we can have something. Right, you should be able to see my screen. I'll zoom in a bit. The first issue Michelle was talking about was the Meta standard library wishlist. I mostly put this here in case you haven't seen it. Essentially, this is just to better organize like what's the current opinionated status on standard libraries that we are missing. I mostly created this because Byung-Jung from OnBlock was asking how to contribute on the standard libraries, and I sort of wanted to create a central issue where we can at least have a rough idea of where we're at. So I went through everything that there is in Go and that we're currently lacking. Buffio we actually have implemented. I realized that I should remove this, and some others are sort of being implemented by Byung-Jung, so I'll need to update this. But if you are interested in any of these libraries for any code that you're working on, like you're free to just take this, and I sort of put on a general workflow that you can try to use to create a standard library. And then I sort of mentioned briefly like some other standard libraries that will need to wait for a while for them to be developed. So these ones will be better after we implement, we merge the native bindings PR. Reason for that is that, you know, they are better off with them. And these are mostly crypto functions, reflect string conversions, which are sort of very, very frequent, and string conversions are not completely in Go right now. And then there are some very useful packages here. I'm sure anyone who's worked in Go remembers this, like encoding JSON, encoding XML, or FMT, which we'll still need to wait a while up until we implement some kind of reflection into Gno for them to happen. And related to this, as Michelle was mentioning, we have made a small issue to propose a tool for comparing source code with standard libraries between Go and Gno. So obviously the standard libraries that we have are going to have some differences between the Go version and the Gno version. Sometimes they're going to have some small additions. Sometimes they're going to have some code deleted because we don't support some features like channels, or some features will not make particular sense in Gno. For this reason, I think it would be still useful to provide as documentation, like a tool to compare what's the source code for the official Go standard library and the Gno standard library. I sort of created this PR, and it's potentially something I might work on at some point in the future. But if you think that this is something that you would be interested in working on, it would be probably quite independent from the monorepo work, because like it would be a standalone tool that would run on a GitHub Pages workflow. Like the idea I have here is for it to be published on our Gno.land.github.io website, which, if you don't know, now also hosts the documentation for our GoDoc. So you can go here and check out, for instance, the documentation for package Gno.land and all the others within our monorepo. So the idea there, as I said, would be that of also hosting on this website information about comparing the source code from the stdlibs on the Go and Gno. And finally, I am going, yes. So this is for the standard libraries. I'm going to quickly talk also about Sonio. I don't think I talked about it in this calls yet. Essentially, like, this is a document that I made a few weeks ago about some like improvements that I plan to sort of work on the GNOME VM, which mostly follow my personal experience in working on GNOME, where there were obviously a lot of things that were lacking and that I desperately wanted and would have very much improved my workflow if they were there. So what Sonio would be, it will probably receive a few iterations on the idea that is currently in this document, but in order to try to achieve as soon as possible a version of GNOME which has a lot of improved features, which include an improved debugging system and improved representation of the values within the GNOME VM, which hopefully removes, with the intention of removing a lot of the bugs that arise from RAM storage. And I also want to add things like having maps as AVL trees or as binary trees, which have some nice semantics, which I think. Which I also want to work on, and also adding reflection. So the idea is for this work to be done on a fork, essentially, if the features cannot be implemented, like they cannot be merged into the master branch for GNOME fast enough. So it's just an idea to try to get quickly to a version of GNOME the way that I wanted when I started Gnotis, and why the name Sonio, which means dream in Italian.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask that. Where I was like that. That name is interesting.
So it happens to be that "gno" is a very common suffix for words in Italian, with which will be useful. We'll definitely make other things with a suffix with "gno" in the future. I have ideas like ragno, which means spider, or bagno, which means toilet. I don't know what will get that name, but yeah.
Also means bath, a little less bad.
Yeah. So yeah, this is the technically means bath, but toilet was more of a joke. Yeah, this is what I've been drafting upon. So I will not start working this for another few months, and I still want to go through a few iterations with the core team and everyone to just make sure that if I do start work on this fork, it's done right. But yeah, I just wanted to bring this out and share it with all of you to know that we're on making some. I want to tackle trying to make some big, brave changes to the GNOME VM to improve its usability. And yeah, that's all from my side.
That's really cool. Thanks.
And so guys, so maybe it will be a fork, but there's a way to try implementing improvements in the main GNOME VM if it makes sense. And one of them, the last point about maps being transparently AVL trees or another kind of tree, is something we want. So some of the points are already identified as something we want for the GNO VM. And for the other ones, it's still not sure. So probably there will be a fork, but also sharing some of the improvements. The goal is basically to keep what GNO developers know as AVL, the best way to have maps. We just want to avoid it and allow people to write contracts with maps. To write efficient contracts, with efficient persistency with maps. This is the thing.
Okay, so should we move along, because I think we're losing people slowly, which actually probably will mean that we have to find a way to have these shorter but more frequently. There was one that I think on the docs front you covered it briefly, and I think Antonio and Milos have gone, but it's coming soon, right? It's about to be here, or I'm just curious of the status, just personally, like when we can start sharing it with the community.
So reading from what Milos has written on the chat, the last update for the docs is that all conversations should have been resolved, and we are waiting for a final screen by the team before we go ahead and merge. So
screen team.
Exactly. We're going through a final screening, and we should have a B1 and a lot of iterations to come, but we should be itching every day closer to conclusion.
Okay. There's I think Thomas is still here, hopefully. There is the future of Knowles issue.
Yes.
You want to give an update on like what that looks like, the workshop you want to, or you're envisioning, and then
yeah. So it was just something I did during the retreat. So the retreat was a good time for that. It was to configure a Vim for Gno.ls. So I can share my screen just to do a very quick demo.
Sorry, no, yeah. I have to
Gno.ls, which is a community project made by someone.
Start learning to say it properly. No,
yes.
Gno.ls for people unaware, it's a equivalent of Go PLS, but for Gno. And it's a community project, but yeah, the goal was to try it in the core team.
Yep.
Yeah. So it helps. It's like the GNO IDE, but for other editors. So just you can do helps you to write GNO code. So I made a PR that is merged, and it's added some instruction in contributing.md.
Are you screen sharing? Because
yeah. Do you see?
All I see is your call screen.
Okay. Okay. Sorry.
That's good.
Screen. Should be better now.
Yep.
Okay. So I had on the right you have the PR that is merged that had some instruction in contributing.md. In the middle you have my vimrc. So you have to use a Vim LSP, which is a Vim plugin that works for any LSP server, and then you have to put some configuration. So this is just the work I did, and of course you have to have the GNO ls binary available. So can just to show you the features, it's not complete, but for now you have completion under the std package. Okay, so you can do stuff like that. You have other stuff. So if you want to have information about something, you can use LSP over. On my side, it's binded on a shortcut. So you have format on save. So for instance, let's say I will. Let's see. So formatting is working as expected. So it passed through GNO.ls. It's not GoFMT on my machine. It's GoFMT, but through GNO.ls.
Then what we have also, we have some error that can be displayed. So it runs a precompile, and then it displays the error on the line each time you save. It doesn't work each time you just edit because it relies on the file on your file system. But that's something that could be improved maybe in Gno.ls. So Gno.ls is open source, and it's just there. And so if you want to contribute, you can, of course, add a lot of stuff. I will develop the things that can be added. It could be nice. Another thing is that works is code length. So code length, this is some annotation that, at least in a VS Code, you can have annotation, for instance, on top of test function that allows you to run the test function. So in Vim, it doesn't appear on top, but you can run LSP code length. And you have a list of the possible things you can do in this file. So for now, it works only on test file. So you can see I can run package or run test. So this is a test where my cursor was on, test do. Or you can run only the file, all the tests that are inside that file. So for now, if I run it, we can see on the left, which is the LSP logs, that things are running, but there's no the output is not rendered in Vim for now. So it's still something we need to improve. Just to iterate about the things that can be added to Gno.ls, I think with just a bit of works, to code completion to all kind of import type. Same for codeover. Codeover also works only on stdlibs. Go to definition. I think something that could be very useful. And our rename function. I think those four are the most important, but we can also think about having Go imports. So auto import the correct package like we have with Go imports. So yeah, that's it for the thing I wanted to show. So just again, if you want to use it, you go to contributing.md. We used to have only Vim support. Now we have Vim support without LSP, and we have Vim support with LSP. That's all for me.
And it works also NeoVim.
Thank you.
Thanks. That's really cool. I mean, there's a lot to learn about that for me anyway, but that's cool. I don't know. Were there any questions, or do we? And do you think that Thomas, will you want to host a more in-depth workshop on this? I think that's linked to 1274.
I'm not sure it's necessary because it's basic developer stuff. Okay. I mean the effort was more on the ability to plug Gno.ls and Vim. Yep. Because Gno.ls already works with some other editor. For instance, I think it works with NeoVim, it works with probably VS Code. So, but yeah, I wanted to show that also to maybe motivate some people to improve Gno.ls and add more features. So Gno.ls is very well written, so it's very easy to dive into the code and add more capabilities. Capabilities are the keyword for LS language server protocol.
Okay. I think we are losing more and more people, but I have a few more topics if that's okay. Should we keep going? Because there is the pretty interesting, it looks like conversation around the multi-node P2P and POA by B1T. There's also the portal loop that we haven't even touched upon on your end, Manfred.
I suggest speaking about the portal loop later because we are still finishing it.
Okay.
And next time we will be demo time.
Okay, I think Dylan may not be. I think either that he might not be added to these calls or whatever. But there were two items here for him, but he's not here, so it's okay. Okay, then maybe we we just cover 2 or 3 more topics quickly, because it would be cool to hear from B1T on this multi-node one, Harium on the 1206, and Gilham on the runtime panic. And then basically we got a lot of discussion from different people. Does that sound okay with everyone?
Yeah, just postponing portal loop.
Okay.
I don't know if when we discuss about the multi-node P2P, I think it's a good topic.
Okay.
And for the rest, you may be people who are still there.
Okay. Do you want to, B1T, do you want to give a quick multi-node P2P just to solicit some feedback on the pull issue? Because it's pretty interesting, personally.
And while he's connecting or not, the goal is to launch soon a multi-node. So it's something we discussed in the past, and now we'll make it happen quickly to launch a multi-node initiative where we will have dedicated network on the side, where we keep the current test nets and staging nets mostly to discover the language, Gno.land, the features. And we'll have another kind of network optimized to test the coordination, the P2P, and other multi-node concerns, but without the need to make a full experience with all the contracts, etc. So we'll have 2 independent testing categories, test nets categories, and the goal is to launch it soon. Identify people who enjoy building, debugging, sharing their snippets, scripts, formulas, and everything. So it's not yet a multi-node for the mass. It's a multi-node for builders. So maybe 10 people, it's enough. Probably people here and 2 or 3 additional people in the existing validator community. But yeah, only interested not to make the biggest network yet, but just to have people able to help us debug and improve.
Yeah, I think that's where
We can hear you.
Okay, good. Hi everyone. Sorry I missed you guys at the retreat. But
yeah, we missed too.
yeah, and I think Manfred summarized it very well on this. I just have a additional, just right now it's not merged into main yet, and we still have some discussion, or still need to review that. But you're welcome to just run that branch and give it a try. Basically, the main purpose is that we're allowed to do P2P sync. There are a couple of the hidden, like feature or hidden configuration. I realized that we'll bring it up more upfront. For example, number one, that we need to run a archive node in archive mode, so that because right now by default all those nodes are running on called customized configuration, which means all the past it's all the past transaction or history will not be able to sync. So only the last 100 block, okay, and also the every 1,000 block. So which means if we don't run, if there's entire node, at least have a 1 node or 2 nodes running our archive nodes. Otherwise, other people cannot fully sync the history. Okay, so that's number one. We bring it up, make it available as a flag so that we can configure that. The second hidden like scenario is that we, as a validator, let's say for example we run like a static validator. Basically, we configure the validator configuration in all the Genesis file and share with everybody who are part of this validator group. However, that for there's we need to really careful about how we reset this reset state when we roll back to certain heights or roll back to Genesis to grow the history, the block to sync with other nodes. So there is a very important feature, which is that when we stop the node, we don't roll back the states of the validator. The validator stay there so that it does not double sign the previous assigned transactions or blocks. So and that is also hidden one. The third one is actually is more like an important thing is it's more like a discover. We don't have a it's more is how it is implemented right now is let's say, for example, we sync all the nodes with each other, but in our local directory, okay, when they load it, actually they automatically load our like a SD library GNO files and example files. Okay, so if those example files are different from each other, and it will not sync. Okay, and this is due mainly because our the Genesis does not keep the state of the contract itself. The Genesis keep a bunch of transactions that are loading the files, but the files are different, and then that won't be able to sync. So that is one kind of a caveat I found during this whole setup. I don't think that we're going to change it very soon, but at least that if we have this run into the issue, we know aware. Okay, when we start run a network, everybody need to have a same version of software in terms of the GNO standard library, and also whatever GNO example if we want to load it. If the file are different, then the sync will fail. So those are kind of things I put it in this PR. Feel free to give it a try. And I have tested only locally on computer with binding on multiple like IP addresses, and still trying to set up network testing real environment. But if you guys spin up few nodes in your own test net. Yeah.
It's in my review list for next week, and I am ping people to also review. And yeah, the last point about examples folder, I think we are indirectly working on it on other parts. One of them is to basically consider that the Genesis creation should have an helper to basically append to a Genesis file a subfolder, because in our case we just have the examples folder. In practice, people who want to build their Gno.land chain maybe want example plus something else, or just something else. So it makes sense to move this dynamic logic from the node to finally switch to a static Genesis file, and consider the node to be more stupid in terms of file system. It has a Genesis file and configuration file, and that's all. We're also working on potentially embedding the stdlibs on the file system directly as a Go code, so with Go embed. So yeah, technically, maybe we will address, we still need to address versioning to make sure that we are basically API compatible between two nodes, and API compatibility should take into account stdlibs and other things like that. But yeah, we will review. The goal is to move forward and on this PR and to start the multi-node experiment soon on the side. And just so we may fix those things not only with a PR, but more generally by improving also the local development and onboarding. Because the thing about embedding stdlibs, etc., were mostly questions regarding how to avoid people to complain having different version, or how to avoid having a GNO SRC, a GNO root and GNO home and GNO blah 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 environment variables, to have things that are on the repo, on the binary, plus downloaded from the internet, and basically work with a 3 different versions of stdlibs, example, binary, node, etc. So we are working on this, and on my side I will review next week. And feel free, guys, to review by looking at the code or just testing is PR, so trying to launch network with multiple nodes. We need feedback for this. It's really needed to to unlock the next phase.
I have kind of a layman question, but you guys are talking about proof of authority. Is there any thoughts on proof of engagement?
No, it's just because we don't have proof of stake implemented. So right now the goal was to say we have proof of authority in a way that basically the set is manually determined.
Okay.
It's not automatically determined based on counters and scores and rules like proof of stake. So here we say this is the validator set and everyone respects the decision. So this is not the full proof of authority in practice, but it's a proof of authority in terms of way of setting up the network. When you are making proof of stake, you coordinate first to have enough validators and to give them early power so that they can allow the network to grow naturally. Here we start the network by just giving the list of validators that are in the set. Even if the validator is a bad one, there won't be any slashing policy for this one. So it's a way to basically test the network part, P2P part, scalability, benchmark, everything, but it's clearly not yet a trustable and safe blockchain to use. It's clearly the step for developers, and the goal is to switch from this proof of authority based on the authority, the developer launching the network, to switching the authority to become the contract, which this time will follow some rules. It won't be as dynamic as proof of stake, because proof of stake can take decision automatically without any intervention, but it will be determined by the DAO choosing the validator and updating the validator set over time. So right now it's the first step, proof of authority, where the authority is developer, and we decentralize the developer to become a contract, and we have basically the proof of contribution we are aiming for. But we can literally work for weeks and months without the contract part and just debug and improve multi-node with this version of proof of authority.
Speaking of contracts, which we might want to tackle another time because I know we're running really late now. There's an interesting contract with ownership topic that I think relates to Onblock and you, Manfred, 1262. It does look like it's a draft. So I was just, it seemed quite interesting, but
actually, let me share my screen. I will explain, because yes, I confirm it's very interesting, and it's a pattern which is not only about smart contract interaction, can also be reused for, oh sorry, my browser quit. It's also a pattern that could address upgradability or ways of extending something. For instance, if you have a stupid DAO contract that does not know how to make actions, we can create the actions after. So we publish the DAO and later we publish the action, but it's a way to make this DAO contract able to use features that were invented after it was published. Let me just share my screen. But this PR is in draft, but in practice we have another one. Tab.
I don't see it yet.
No, it's loading.
Okay.
It should be good in a few seconds. No?
Yep.
So I think we are speaking about this contract, this one. And this one is in draft, but you have another example, which is already merged, I think, mine. Oh, actually, no, it's mine. So it's in draft, but I think it's finished. Oh, yeah, I remember. Actually, we have a problem. We cannot use TX star with more than one TX star. We have a
it's fixed now. We fix it with Dylan. We simply disable the parallelism for now, and it should work. Actually, I rerun the CI. I didn't know.
Yeah, if you can try, or actually maybe just rebasing with master is enough. But basically, this is a take star. So, oh, you made it. Thank you. So this is a take star file. So in unique file simulating both adding contract. So we have the first contract registry.gno here. As you can see, it imports just std. So it is not aware of any GRC20 or whatever. It does not know what is a GRC20 and doesn't know any GRC20 implementation. We have a GRC20. So it's a fake one. I just made a one with transfer function, but basically it's a token implementation. And then we have a wrapper, which is something we can actually use maybe Gno.run to avoid having this intermediary contract. So this contract is just used to register this contract on this one. And in a txt file, you have so dash files. It's basically you simulate populating your file system, and then you have the scenario. We start a real Gno.land node. We add the registry package, this one. We try to call the registry package with transfer by name, calling I want to transfer the string foo20 with to that address with that amount. It replied not found. It replied, why is not found? Here. So it cannot find the pair. The registry is empty. Then you create later the foo20 and foo20 wrapper functions. So you upload the foo20 on chain, you upload the foo20 wrapper on chain, and the foo20 wrapper only has an init function. So basically, it's not something intended to be called by people. That's why we should just use Gno.run instead. But this thing imports registry, imports foo20, and call registry.register foo20 with a callback. And now, if you call the same thing, so line 10 was about calling transfer foo20, and here we call the same, and now same address success. So same address was a test because one of the problem with such approach was ownership, because each time you declare a new function, so for instance, if instead of giving the pointer to transfer, but if instead I created my own wrapper and gave the wrapper stuff here, the owner of the call is not foo20 anymore, but foo20 wrapper. And the goal with such a GRC20 registry system is to keep this contract as the one that stays forever. And we all know the address. We can send tokens, we can send GRC20 to that address, and it keeps everything. It can be an escrow or whatever, but basically we want this contract to own multiple assets. And we just want this logic system to make this contract being aware of new tokens over time. So this example is useless, but as you can imagine, it's a good base for a DEX. If you want to create a decentralized exchange, you will want to have a contract able to keep some locked tokens, and able to send the locked tokens or just orders or whatever. You have multiple approaches. You can expect to use the approve function from a GRC20. So the contract is approved as an approval to transfer a token, or you can just expect the contract to receive tokens and send them each time someone gives something in exchange. But basically, this system allows a DEX to exist. This system allows a DAO. You can imagine this to be a DAO with functions to basically check if you have enough votes, and and basically the goal is not to say please vote for nothing, but please vote for this function callback. So if someone creates a new temporary function in Gno.run or as a contract, and the function basically call new votes with the rules of the votes and a callback of what to do once approved, once voted positively. Then you can have this contract, which is just a DAO. It remembers the amount of members. Maybe it has some banker tokens, some GRC20 tokens or whatever. But basically, you can create a new proposal, which is just a function callback. So something which is not defined when you create the DAO. So the DAO is not limited to make transfers. It can do whatever you want and still respect the DAO state. So who are the members, and respect the DAO logic. So maybe checking if you have 2/3 of the vote positive. So second thing is about DAO with upcoming features. And the last thing I see right now is about managing upgradability. You may have a first contract, which is just this, responsible to have callbacks, and basically it will import a V1, but something can maybe set this is a V2. And by changing things, by changing this, you can have the contract which stays the same, which once again keep all the state. But each time he wants to call the logic behind, it won't call not coded logic. Instead, you will call a callback that can be changed later. And we have the opposite also. You can make upgradability where you actually upgrade not the registry, but another contract which use registry not as a front end, but as a way to store things. But yeah, basically this pattern with this concept of registering not something you declare here, but something declared in another place preserves the ownership and unblock further decks by Guilhem. So yeah,
Very sorry.
If the PR is green thanks to Dylan, I will merge. So you know unblock already. I think we can see it in the conversation. Yeah. No, here. So basically they implemented it here for in Gno.swap. In Gno.swap they have something similar. So they have a proof that it works for a DEX where the DEX import just generic dependencies but no JC20s. And I think Leon from the DevRel team is working on something similar. I'm not sure. I think he was working on something similar. But let's discuss it. It's already late. Maybe we should stop here.
Okay, that sounds good. I don't want to keep going if other people. And I think Guilhem gave us an update on 1236 since it was on the agenda. So yeah, at that I think we covered most of it. We can cover we can talk about the portal loop next time. There were the two topics that Dylan's not here for. Guilhem gave us an update. Yeah, looks like we got through a lot. These calls could go on for a long time. So that being said, if everyone could provide feedback, well, like not everyone, some of the internal team already did, but if external contributors, Donghuan, Andrew, I don't know if Territory, Antoine, if you guys could give feedback, it would be really helpful because we are looking at, or I guess we all are looking at how to improve them because there is a lot to cover and there's a lot to discuss that just requires, like, I think from a layman's perspective, conversation, but also like getting updates like Flipando, like Territory. So how could we do this in a better, more succinct way? Is it weekly, but it's only 1 hour? And it's 1 week is focused only on ecosystem updates and 1 week is targeted more a discussionary perspective on pull requests, and the team like highlights priorities in maybe a label. I'm not sure. We've had our own internal discussion a little bit. My job, I guess, would be to consolidate feedback. We also have talked about having office hours that are more general version of this kind of thing. So yeah, if you guys would also provide feedback somewhere, maybe on Slack or even in the channel, would be really helpful so that we are. And the other thing that I did just want to bring up is that we are very much grateful to all of our Asia Pacific people who join us at midnight. And I am curious how we could maybe find a way to be considerate of that time zone on a more regular basis so that you guys could join us with a fresh cup of coffee instead of at midnight before going to bed. So, yeah. Feedback welcome. Cool. Oh yeah, 3 a.m. Okay, that's just not fair. So anyway, let's find a way to make everything work for as many people as possible. So yeah.
Just one suggestion is, yeah, we should not only have one. It makes sense to consider splitting by topic to have more focus. It makes sense also to just consider we should have multiple of them, maybe one more for US time zone, European time zone, etc., and make it just optional for everyone. So if you are curious and hardcore and you have a coffee and beer, join the 3. If you just want to join your time zone, join it, and you can still see the record of the other ones. And maybe we should also try to use some AI summarization tool or whatever to also help people decide if they want to read the whole video or not.
Yeah.
But I actually want to make it more optional for everyone, and also more something you enjoy checking again and again for a single update.
Yeah,
On my
we
side,
don't
I
want
try to follow everything. Sorry?
right? No, hopefully we're not. Yeah, I want to make it enjoyable.
Actually, for me, it's very enjoyable.
Yeah, me too. I could keep going because I have like some other issues that I was like curious about what you guys were talking about. But yeah, well, and also maybe we could think of a way to like prioritize them, right? Like what is nice is to get like B1T and other PST people talking with everyone, and then Asia Pacific. But if that's not right, then maybe we need to talk about like prioritizing an issue per group, that they highlight it, and then people who that time zone doesn't work for, they can listen to it.
Yeah.
And then like more of a feedback loop. Yeah.
Can we just try soon? I think we should just experiment with it to not have a single one worldwide, but 2 or 3 with strategical time zones, and just allow people to decide if they do the two ones or just a single one. I think we should just try to see how much it's painful, but maybe it can solve everything to make everything optional, and at the meantime having more of them. So you have more of them, but everything is optional.
Okay. And just for context, like we are doing fireside chats with all of our ecosystem partners. So I would take a look at our YouTube channel, because Johnny from our team sits down with OnBlock, is going to sit down with Dragos, sit down with Antoine, and does fireside chats, which is kind of like a show and tell. So it's a more focused session on the product and the project, or like the person in the project. So yeah, cool. Okay, well, if you guys can provide feedback, I don't know if I should is this like one of those things where I should open up an issue?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Then I will do that and solicit feedback from everyone so that we can make better engagements. So thanks for everyone's time.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. See you guys at the next on Slack Signal.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.